Welcome back to another episode of the Caffeinated Christian Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Ryan Willert, and I'm sitting here with Pastor Mike Rigglesworth and your favorite person, Bradley, the man with no last name, on the board. How are you guys doing today?
I
got a lot of energy today.
Pretty good. Oh, that's good.
Yeah, I was a little sick last week, but I'm over it. I'm back. I'm ready to
You're
go.
always
You're on the
sick.
rebound?
Yep.
I'm
Every other episode we release,
You're sick more than I am, and I have kids.
Yeah, that's true.
So-
I also had COVID like 4 times. So
Well, your wife is a nurse, so I guess that covers it a
She
little.
do you
carries
think
some things
she's
home.
bringing things home
Yeah.
deliberately?
I think
deliberately or accidentally?
sure.
I think she's
Deliberately.
poisoning you.
Deliberately.
Yeah, for sure.
What does she make for you? She probably poisons it.
She probably, before she cleans her
Sarah, I'm sorry.
her scrubs, when she serves me dinner, she probably
I'm
like
not sorry.
rubs them in the air on top, whatever germs comes home from her from her work.
No, it's just, I think it's part of being married to a nurse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's annoying. It's annoying, but I am healthy. I am back. I have energy. I slept well last night, and we have a great podcast for you. Ooh,
What is that?
what is that?
We're recording from the beach today, and this is just playing in the background.
Presque Isle. You guys know what that means. It is Shark Week. You are listening to the Caffeinated Christian Podcast during Shark Week, and we have a special coffee for you. Bradley, keep that music going. We have Bones Coffee called Shark Bite. It's a spiced butter rum flavor coffee.
Something you drink on the seas.
Something you drink on the seas. A little Shark Bite coffee for you. If you want to find more information, wait for the stop. There it is. Go to bonescoffee.com and order Shark Bite coffee. It's actually really good.
Yeah, I've been waiting to order it because I don't know what flavor it is.
Yeah.
It doesn't say on the bag or on the website at all.
Spiced butter rum, you
Yeah.
said?
Can we just talk about how amazing John Williams is?
Oh, he's phenomenal.
Are you kidding me with that?
Every memorable movie that you have from your childhood,
It's
he's
stinking
written the
John
score
Williams.
for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's got like how many like
Superman.
Oscars or whatever?
Star Wars.
Star Wars,
Yeah.
Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Yep.
I think
What
he
else?
did. Didn't he do like Peter Pan, like the
Probably.
the
I'm not,
Hook
I don't
Peter
know.
Pan, like,
Maybe.
with Robin Williams?
I think you did the live action
There's
one.
so many
We
different.
need
things.
John Williams to do our theme music for the podcast.
There
That's
we
what
go.
we need to do.
Yeah,
Actually, I
You
like
know,
our theme
I
music
have
as
a-
it is.
I'm actually looking this up right
I have
now.
a confession to make.
What's that?
I honestly did not know that Shark Week was a real thing. I thought it was
What?
just from Step Brothers.
Well, really?
Yeah, because they watched the TV and they're both watching Shark Week, and I thought it was just a plot from
Yeah,
Step
I
Brothers.
remember
Oh my
when
gosh.
they started it with Discovery Channel, wasn't it? Didn't they start Shark Week with that?
Yeah.
something like
Yep.
that.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
had no idea it was a real thing.
He did so many
See,
things.
I mean, I watched Jaws as a kid, and I couldn't go in my grandparents' pool for like 2 weeks.
You know, I've never actually
You know.
seen Jaws either.
No,
No.
just don't watch it.
Do you ever do that thing when you're running up the basement stairs when you were younger that you like sprinted up because you thought someone was
Thought someone was behind.
you?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
thought
I
I was the
remember
only
when I
one.
watched Jaws, I always sprinted up because there's a shark.
there
behind
was
me. I
a
don't know
shark.
how that worked.
Where there's no water.
Where there's
anywhere
no
near you.
water, or the shark just swam through.
It's a land shark.
Yeah,
I would be in the bathtub, and I just thought a shark was gonna bust through, just randomly.
My goodness, he did E.T.
Yep.
He did. Oh, look at Home Alone.
This whole podcast is to be John
JFK,
Williams.
Jurassic
Alone.
Park, Schindler's List. Oh my goodness, there's a list of just Saving Private Ryan. He did. Oh my gosh, Harry Potter.
Oh, yep, that's another one.
Wow.
Yep.
He is a freak of nature. That's all I
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
But Shark Bite Coffee. And Mike, let's toss over to you for the topic.
Shark bark?
Shark
Shark
bite.
Bite Coffee.
Bite.
You said shark bark.
Shark Bark?
Yeah, well, it's good to be kind of back in the rhythm of things. Last week was my first full week back in the office.
Yep.
We were on vacation as a family. On my wife's side, we went to Niagara Falls, Canadian side of the falls, to connect with
Marineland?
No, not Marineland. We went to the Canadian side of the falls and took in some sights there on the Canadian side. It was fun. It was a good time. But her brother and family live in Canada, so we met sort of halfway there, across the border. That was lots of fun.
Did you go on the Ferris wheel?
No, we didn't go on the Ferris wheel, but we had our own fun with a 4-year-old and a 1-year-old in the back seat crossing the border. When our 4-year-old had a full bladder, had to pee, and she just kept saying, "Are we there yet? Are we there yet?" Like, but her version is, "When are we going to get there?" That's how she says, "Are we there yet? When are we going to get there?" and we had to give her some version of this phrase every time she said it. Not yet. Yeah. We had to keep saying it over and over and over and over. But what struck me that waiting, while it's less than ideal for a 4-year-old, it's really not ideal for anybody.
Yeah.
You know, whether you're a toddler, you're a teenager, you're a senior citizen, you name it, we start to get impatient when we are waiting for something we're eagerly anticipating.
Yeah.
Right. So that got me thinking about the journey that we've been on as a church over the last several months. In the new year, we started going through the book of Romans, right? And we started Romans chapter 1, started making our way through this book. And for those of you who aren't familiar, Romans is this letter that the Apostle Paul wrote to the Christians who are living within the city of Rome. And it is the pinnacle theological work of the whole Bible, of the whole New Testament, but all of Scripture. And we've been going through this, and we're now at Romans chapter 8. And Romans chapter 8,
Starting to get easier now, right?
Oh, yeah, so much easier.
Roman 8, 9,
So
10,
much
11.
easier.
Predestination. It's
All
just
that
an
easy,
easy
yeah.
Oh, yeah,
topic.
it's just softball issues that we could just tackle
He could have
very
went deeper.
easily.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if you've ever read through Romans, you know how deeply theological and complicated this book actually is. So if anybody tells you that the Bible stands for basic instructions before leaving earth, they are wrong. They're incorrect. That is not what it is. It is by no means basic. The gospel is incredibly simple, but is also deeply mysterious and complex, and you take a lifetime learning how to live in step with this gospel of Jesus Christ.
Yeah, isn't that interesting how people say that?
It's paradoxical.
Yeah, they're like, well, if it can't be explained easily, then I don't want anything to do with it. I'm like, I mean, the central core understanding can be understood by everyone, but there are clearly these terms.
I mean,
and,
engineering can't be explained easily,
Right.
Yeah.
Still worth doing.
Right. So I don't know why people say that.
Yeah. So we've been going through Romans 8, and it's the section of Paul's letter where he is talking about what does it mean to live a sanctified life, and sanctification just means what the Spirit is doing in you. Once you've been justified, once Christ has done this work for you on the cross, and you've made that conscious decision to follow him, that's justification. But then there's the process of sanctification that we walk through for the rest of our life. That's what God is doing in us. And we're in the middle of this. And I'm not going to go through all of Romans 8 because I don't want to bore our listeners too much by going through too much in one setting. I don't want their eyes to glaze over. But I'm going to start here in Romans 8, verse 15, right? So Paul writes this. He says, "For you did not receive the spirit of slavery to fall back into fear, but you've received the spirit of adoption as sons, by whom we cry, Abba, Father." Ryan's just having an asthma attack or something over here.
Jeez.
And then, so he says,
Hot in here.
it is. Yeah. It's a little toasty in here today. We don't have AC in the studio. No,
Went down the wrong.
it's a recording booth, but it's not it's not AC
Dependent.
equipped.
I'm just happy I'm
Recording
next to
booth.
the fan.
Yes.
We don't make enough money to provide AC.
Bradley's got these perks as the executive producer. He's right by the fan. But Paul says, we cry, Abba, Father. And he says, the Spirit himself bears witness with our spirit that we are children of God. And that phrase, Abba, Father, was a unique term Jesus used when praying to God. And in particular, he prays this in Mark chapter 14, verse 36, where he says, Abba, Father, all things are possible for you. Remove this cup from me, yet not what I will, but what you will. Okay?
Can I ask a question real quick?
Yeah.
Because I meant to ask you this on Sunday and
Sure.
I never did. What does Abba translate to? Like, what does Abba mean?
Daddy.
Basically.
Yeah.
Oh, it just means...
Yeah. It's
So he's saying father, father?
kind of.
In a sense,
like-
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. He's just repeating
Yeah.
the phrase. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Well, it's like when he says truly, truly, right?
Yeah. It's for emphasis.
Yeah.
Well, okay. But it's two different words. That's why I was asking.
Yes.
It would be different if he said father, father. But I assumed Abba meant something significant.
Yeah. Well, it was a unique term that Jesus used to describe God the Father.
Okay.
Right. And this term is a term that
Very relational.
it's intimacy,
Different
it's
kind of
connection.
relation that they understood.
And this scripture, it's in. So we're in context here, Paul is talking about how we've been adopted into the family of God. We now have received adoption as sons, and that's a neutral term in the Greek. It's both males and females. We now bear the same nature as our Heavenly Father. And then he goes into, we cry, Abba, Father, which is really interesting because the Greek is the word that Paul uses. It's a transliteration of the very same word that Jesus prayed, all right? And he prays it in this moment of deep anguish and suffering. And it's believed by some biblical scholars that when Paul said, we cry Abba, Father in Romans, he was calling back to this prayer that the Roman church would have understood Paul to mean this very prayer Jesus prayed before he...
This is the Gethsemane.
It's the Gethsemane prayer. Yeah, correct. And what Paul does is he says, we're inheritors. We're benefactors of everything that God is going to give us. Mm-hmm. We're looking forward to, if you've been following Christ for any length of time, hopefully you know that like this world isn't all there is. There's going to be this renewal of all things. There's this renewed humanity and renewed creation that we're looking forward to.
Yeah.
And that we're going to be heirs of this. We're going to inherit these things. They all belong to Jesus, and he's going to share in that blessing with us. And then in verse 17 of Romans 8, it says, and if children, then heirs, heirs of God and fellow heirs with Christ, provided we suffer with him, in order that we may also be glorified with him. Like, I really want to stop reading verse 17, where it says, we're children, then heirs, heirs of God and fellow heirs with Christ.
Away.
I wish there was a period, not a comma.
Next chapter. Yeah.
Like, really. But we have some conditions here. Mm-hmm. Like that if we're heirs with Christ, if we're going to receive this new heaven and new earth, we're going to have to suffer in the meantime.
No, God! Yeah.
Yep. That's how I feel.
Yeah.
Exactly how I feel. Yeah. And that's probably how Jesus felt in the garden when he was praying. But we have this future to look forward to, and in the meantime, we're waiting. We're waiting to get there. It's like our daughter in the back seat, eagerly anticipating, when are we going to get there? Yeah. When are we going to arrive at this point? And God is saying to us, while we wait, not yet. Yeah. Like, there's going to be this arrival. There's going to be this point in time where we do experience this new heaven and new earth, this totally new creation, but not yet. Not yet. So I'm curious. So this is a conversational thing. It's not just me talking the whole time.
All right, yeah.
When you guys are in the deep, dark night of the soul that John Chrysostom referred to it as, what do you guys do? Like, how do you guys maintain a sense of hope? Because Paul's going to talk about how we have hope later on in Romans 8. How do you guys maintain hope when you're going through those moments where you're waiting for that experience on the other side, but you haven't arrived there yet?
Yeah, so I guess I just smoked my... I'm a mess today, guys. Listeners,
oh my gosh, you just dropped the mic, too.
Oh my goodness.
You're not supposed to mic drop yet.
What is
Ryan.
happening right now?
Supposed to mic drop after, not before.
I'm a mess. Yeah, so when it comes to the dark night of the soul, it is...
Can I give some context for why I want to share this, too?
Yeah.
I find this section in Romans particularly relevant, too, because we're going through a lot of uncertainty in our culture right now, right? And so we need something solid to anchor ourselves to in the midst of the war going on in Ukraine, inflation continuing to rise. There's all sorts of economic uncertainty in our country right now.
Yeah.
And so over the last 2 years, we're continuing to see the how poor it is a foundation that we have in these temporary things. The things that we thought would last, the things that we thought were solid actually aren't. And so we need to anchor our lives to something that is unchanging, that's lasting. And I firmly believe as a pastor and as a Christian that the gospel is that one thing.
Right.
That we need to point people to right now. So that's why we've been going through Romans. But Romans 8 is this groundbreaking theological work within Romans itself, but also in all of Scripture. Yeah. Because we have this future hope that's awaiting us, that we're going to experience this renewal of creation and the renewal of ourselves along with it. Yeah. But what do we do in the meantime?
Yeah, I guess something that works for me is I need to go back to I don't want to say the arguments or logic because that sounds almost condescending to some people. For instance, when you're having this feeling and you ask the question like, is this going to be successful, right? I go back personally to read about the resurrection again.
Yeah.
And the arguments for the resurrection. And I guess my mind works sort of in that way, that I can go back to what I have done my research in and have just good evidence and tons of reasons why I think this is true. And I read that he said, because this is the case, you shall also live as well.
Right.
And that helps me see past these dark moments in my life.
Right.
I also like to look back on times where I know he helped me through and realize that I'm not stuck here.
Yes,
right?
You can look back and remember God's faithfulness.
Yeah, exactly. And I think we see this in Scripture, right? That in a sense, one thing brought to back in our minds can help us hold on to certain things that we are going through.
Yeah.
And so I think that's a very helpful thing that we just, even if we don't know, I'm trying to remember the story in my head, but it reminds me of when they healed that one, the blindness of the one kid, and he was underage, and he asked his parents, hey, was this kid blind from birth? And he goes, wait, no, he's of age, go ask him.
Right.
And they asked him what is happening, and he goes, listen, I don't know who this man was. I have no idea what's going to happen. I have no idea about anything, but all I do know is I was blind, but now I can see.
Right.
And I kind of hold on to those moments in my life. Like, I don't know what the heck I'm going through right now or how it's going to end up, but I do know that he has done this for me before, or this has happened. Yeah. And so I'm going to hold on to that moment to get me through all the other moments.
Yeah, and I think our faith can grow in hindsight, where we're looking back on how God has proven himself faithful in the past, and that allows us to remain steadfast in those moments of uncertainty. Yeah, for sure. How about you, Bradley?
So for me, I think that this has been my my chapter of the year, I guess. So I was listening to a message by Adrian Rogers, Pastor Adrian Rogers, who is I think he died back in 2010, but it was like an old recording of one of his messages, and he was talking about trusting God. So he gave it was a 2-part message on trusting God, and it was based out of Psalms 27. And so it says at the end of the at the end of the chapter, it says, I believe that I shall look upon the goodness of the Lord in the land of the living. Wait for the Lord. Be strong. Let your heart take courage and then wait for the Lord. So he says, wait for the Lord twice. And he broke down what does waiting for the Lord actually mean. And so he was saying that make sure that you do everything that you can to follow God. And if you don't know where you're going, keep in prayer, keep reading the Bible, and then get your life as best as you can in order for God. And if you just wait for him, he will work.
Yep. And
all you have to do is trust him. And that seems to be the case for me, from what I've seen. Whereas if you just trust God, the long periods will seem short because God's there.
Yeah. Yeah, it's good. Bradley, I love that you mentioned the Psalms.
Yeah.
Because
it's becoming my favorite chapter in the Bible.
Yeah.
And I don't like picking a favorite verse because one verse is too short.
Yeah.
But that whole chapter is about, if you read the beginning of the chapter, it starts off with, my enemies are assailing me, but God is there.
Yeah.
And then it says, the enemy encamps around me, but it is they who shall stumble and fall. And so the whole verse is about reassuring that God is there and he's bigger than whatever you're going through. And if you just trust him, he'll guide you through it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love the Psalms and I have a creative mind. So the Psalms, they're very, very poetic. Obviously they're prayers mostly from David, and One psalm that really resonates with me, and it's become my favorite psalm. I hate when people ask me my life verse, but I think I have favorite.
Thank you.
But I have favorite.
It's like asking me what's your favorite song.
Right.
It's like, well, it
It's like,
depends on the
It
time.
changes. It
Yeah.
changes.
The genre,
Genre,
the band.
exactly.
Like, what are you talking about?
I
here?
have this one life verse, and it's the best verse in the whole Bible.
Yeah,
It's
like-
okay.
I go back to, I default to Proverbs 3:5-6, but that's like everybody's life verse.
Right.
You know, so I like verses within every book of the Bible.
Yeah.
And my favorite psalm is Psalm 46.
Okay.
And what I love about Psalm 46 is it talks about trouble and calamity and God's work in the midst of it. So let me start from Psalm 46, starting in verse 1, and then going down to verse 10. That's the one that we all know, and you'll see why in just a second. Psalm 46, starting verse 1. God is our refuge and strength, a very present help in trouble. Therefore we will not fear, though the earth gives way, though the mountains be moved into the heart of the sea, though its waters roar and foam, though the mountains tremble at its swelling. There is a river whose streams make glad the city of God, the holy habitation of the Most High. God is in the midst of her, she shall not be moved. God will help her when morning dawns. The nations rage and kingdoms totter. He utters his voice, the earth melts. The Lord of hosts is with us, the God of Jacob is our fortress. Come, behold the works of the Lord, how he has brought desolations on the earth. He makes wars cease to the end of the earth. He breaks the bow and shatters the spear. He burns the chariots with fire. And here it is. Be still and know that I am God. I will be exalted among the nations. I will be exalted in the earth. The Lord of hosts is with us. The God of Jacob is our fortress. So that's all of Psalm 46.
Yeah.
But I notice how it just begins at the very start with all of this calamity, all of this trepidation.
Yeah.
And we look at all the uncertainty that's going on around us right now, within our nation, within our world. And what is our visceral response? Like, what are we going to do?
Right. Run around, figure
run
this out.
around,
Let's do this.
Run around like a chicken with your head cut off
Yeah.
and just try to make best of it. But what does it say in the verse 10? Be still.
Yeah.
Like, it's totally counterintuitive.
In other words, calm down.
Yes.
Yeah.
God's in control. He's got this. It's totally counterintuitive. I equate it to, like, I had this moment the other day when I was changing my son's diaper. He's a year old. Yeah, it's all sorts of fun, but he cannot stay still for anything, like, at all. So I put him on the changing table, and he screams like it's Armageddon when I put him on the changing table. Okay, so I put him down.
He's so quiet, though.
No, he's not at home.
He saves it all for that moment.
Yeah, he builds it all up, and put him down, and he decides he's going to start literally climbing the walls while I'm trying to change him, right? So
Get away.
He's like climbing on the chair rail, like he's trying to get up to the ceiling for some reason.
Is there a deeper problem? Does he like sitting in his waist?
No, he doesn't.
Okay, so it's not
No.
a weirder problem.
He tells us when he needs to be changed, but he doesn't like being still.
changed.
He doesn't
okay.
like being still. That's the problem. And so I'm trying to keep him still, trying to hold him down, and then
That's funny.
like I just hear this still small voice say, "Do you know that's your problem too?" Like, do you know, like, there's moments where you need to be still.
Yeah.
Where you need to just stop for a moment and listen to what I'm trying to tell you. And you don't.
Yeah.
You know, and I think some of us, we prolong our suffering and we prolong our pain because we're not sitting still for a long enough period of time to actually hear the voice of God. So what I find to be true is that when I'm still, I know that he is God. I know that he's in control, and I can hear his voice in a clearer way than I would any other time.
To add to that, I think it's 1 Kings 19, I think, is the
Elijah.
with Elijah in the mountain, and he's listening for God's voice, and there's the fire, and God's voice isn't in the fire. God's voice isn't in the mountain crumbling.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's not in the great wind. It's in the quiet whisper.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So, like, it's the same thing. Like,
it is.
we look for all these big, like, attention grabbers that we have nowadays with the news and social media, and what we really ought to do is just turn it all off and just listen to God.
Yeah. Yeah. And so from a practical level, that's what I would advise our listeners to do. Like, if you're in a season of suffering, whether it's what you look out at when you read the news or, scroll through your social media feed, whatever it is, take time to be still and know that God's in control of all of it. All of human history is heading somewhere. And if you're in Christ, you're heading to somewhere new and somewhere better than what you're experiencing right now. But things are not the way they should be. And that's what Paul is driving us to in Romans 8. So jumping back to that in verse 18, he says, "For I consider that the sufferings of this present time are not worth comparing with the glory that is to be revealed to us." Mm-hmm. It's a future moment. It hasn't been revealed yet. "For the creation waits with eager longing for the revealing of the sons of God." And here's verse 20. "For the creation was subjected to futility, not willingly, but because of him who subjected it in hope."
In
hope.
Yeah. To me, that shows something very fascinating, and I don't have time to go through the argument of it, but it shows the brilliance of God's foreknowledge.
Mm-hmm.
That the hope was, not only is there a hope that the future, that creation has for itself, but it also has for us in a sense, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's longing, as you were about to say, to see us come to this final completion stage. And so what I find so interesting is that it says he who subjected it, which is God, that God knew and used creation in this sort of subjected futility for the sake of knowing that we are going to need that in a real sense. But it also will be released when we come to our end time. I just find it, God's mind is brilliant to me.
And that even though he knew creation was going to be subjected to futility, he still chose to entrust creation to human beings, to Adam and Eve.
Right, interesting.
Right, this is a callback because like Paul's frame of reference is the Old Testament, right? And so you see callbacks to Exodus, the Exodus story, and you see callbacks to Genesis throughout the letter to the Romans. And what I love about this picture that Paul uses, it's timeless. Mm-hmm. It's relevant in Paul's day. It's relevant in our day as well. He says, "Creation will be set free from its bondage to corruption." This is verse 21. "And obtain the freedom of the glory of the children of God." That's a reference to Exodus, of course.
Yep.
He says, "For we know that the whole creation has been groaning together in the pains of childbirth until now."
Yeah.
Right? And
Great imagery.
yeah, it's great imagery. Especially, my wife might kill me for saying this on the podcast, but I got a front row seat to both of our children's births. Just watch the whole thing happen. Vastly different experiences between the two of them, but one thing that was constant was how much agony and pain my wife was in.
Right.
Like, and when she was giving birth to my daughter, she squeezed my hand so hard that my fingers turned purple. Right. So she's got a grip, and but I dare not say anything about the pain I'm in, lest I lose my life.
You asked the nurse for ice chips for you.
Right. I know.
I think that just to go with that scripture verse there, that word groaning, it's such a specific word, and it's such a strong and powerful word of the whole passage. Like the childbirth, like that's one thing, but it doesn't relate to everybody. But that groan is something that's like gender. It's a gender neutral term that it's almost like an ache, like a dry ache that doesn't go away.
Well, what I find interesting is how Paul is sort of connecting this, right? Because he says in verse 18, "For I consider that I don't know what's wrong with me, guys. I'm telling you, I'm not going to get you sick. It was all last
You're all
week.
right. You're good.
The sufferings of this present time, and then it brings this idea of childbirth, and it harkens back to a story. Literally, it's popping in my head right now that I had a friend named Jessica, and she got married and had her first kid. And I saw her at Vintage, which is a chapel college event. This was many, many, many years ago. And
You don't still attend Vintage? No.
He does.
no, I'm that. If I was, I'd be that creeper guy who's like, why do they allow that old man in here? But
Is that how you met your wife?
no, Movie leader.
Oh, okay.
Movie leader.
So even younger.
Even young. Well, she wasn't in Movie. She wasn't a high schooler. But no, so I remember seeing her. She was coming out of the bathroom, and she looked like she was ready to pop, like that close to 8-9 months, whatever it is. And I remember saying, "Hey, Jessica, how you doing? I haven't seen you in a while." She's like, "Yeah, my feet hurt, my back hurts,
Yeah.
everything. As most women, I'm assuming all women have when they get to that.
It's the get this baby the heck out
Yeah,
of my
the
face.
baby's on my bladder.
Yes.
I'm peeing every like 30 minutes type thing, and just it's painful. Like this is miserable. And I asked her this question, and I remember because I asked her this again. And I go, "Would you have done this if you'd have known this much pain?" She's like, "I don't know." just being funny. And so she had her kid a few weeks later, and I saw her, and I asked her the same question. Now that you have your kid, if you knew this, what you do now, would you go through that pain again?
Yeah.
And she goes 100%.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
And so what we see, this Paul's understanding of the suffering is not even close to the glory that awaits. And he harkens back to this pang of childbirth that we see.
Oh yeah. Yeah, and we have this. Yeah, and we have this future hope that we're awaiting, and it's like you said, it just pales in comparison to what we deal with right now. But yeah, so I don't envy my wife at all. So that word groaning, Ryan is like coughing his lungs out.
It's also 100 degrees in here.
You could open that door if you want. So we're just
He's doing a lap around the
difficulties.
room.
That's right. That's right. So that word groaning in the original Greek was this involuntary sound made under like deep pain and distress and agony. It could be like an actual like sound you make, or it could be this wordless cry for relief. It could refer to either one of those things.
I think of both when I think of that word.
Oh yeah. Yeah, for sure. And he says this too in verse 23. So he says creation is groaning for its renewal. And he says, verse 23, and not only the creation, but we ourselves who have the first fruits of the Spirit. So what he's talking about, when he's talking about the first fruits of the Spirit, we've tasted something of eternity when we come into a relationship with Jesus.
Right.
So that's a really important thing. Like we have this foretaste of what the next life is going to be like, and we eagerly await the arrival of it, right? He says, we ourselves groan inwardly as we wait eagerly for adoption as sons, the redemption of our bodies, right? So Paul uses this word groaning to describe the present state of creation, but to describe the present state of those who are already adopted into God's family, that we groan alongside of creation, longing for our renewal, right? And what I find really intriguing is the fact that we are groaning and longing for something because there's something we're groaning and longing for. Like there's an actual eternity that we're awaiting for, right? And I preached this sermon this past Sunday, and Ryan's actually going to be preaching at our church, at Centerpoint Church, this
I thought
coming
you did a good
Sunday.
job Sunday.
Thank you. I had to cover a lot of territory.
Yeah, you did.
About 40 minutes to cover verses 12 through 27. But that's why they pay me the big bucks. But anyway, C.S. Lewis.
How very humble of you.
Yeah, I know, right?
Hence no air conditioning.
No air conditioning. But we do have air conditioning in our worship
in the
center.
atrium, it's perfect.
It's very comfortable in our worship center, just not in our recording booth. But in the message, I referenced C.S. Lewis. He made this argument for eternity, for the renewal of all creation from this place of desire. And basically, he said that humans' natural desire for eternal happiness has to be capable of satisfaction because all of our natural desires are capable of satisfaction, right? So if you thirst, it's because there's such a thing as water. If you hunger, it's because there's such a thing as food. And if you have a longing for which this current world, this present creation cannot meet, it means you are created for another world. You're groaning and you're waiting for another world, right? So that's encouraging.
Yeah.
I hope. Like, people might be groaning and waiting in an unhealthy marriage. They might be groaning and waiting in an unhealthy financial situation. Yeah. They might be groaning and waiting for their kids to come back to God. I don't know what the situation is, but if you are in Christ, there is a future reality that awaits you where all of this will no longer be a factor.
Yeah.
You know, and that is something that we can anchor ourselves to and find 100%. Hope in.
That's great.
Yeah.
I like that.
Any additional thoughts you guys wanted to add?
No, I just love the fact that we can ground this hope in this future promise that we're given. We look at the news and we look at everything that's going on, and a lot of people who don't have this kind of hope just go like, what am I doing? Like, let's live for this now, and as soon as I die, the world, like, let it be the kids' problem. I've already dealt with my fair share, and let's get the heck out of here.
Right.
But I just don't see that we need to be as scared as sometimes we are.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think some sort of materialism falls into that problem, especially in the westernized world. But I just love the fact that if all things melt away, money, whatever it is, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Right? It just doesn't matter.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And what I find to be hopeful is that while creation is groaning and while we're groaning,
Yeah.
God is at work in the midst of that too. And that's what Paul talks about at the tail end of this section we're going to look at today. And we're going to pick up on part 2, and Ryan's going to take the lead on that.
Die.
Yep. And he says this, he says, "For in this hope we were saved, but hope that is seen is no hope at all. Who hopes for what they already have," right?
Yeah.
You don't hope for something that already is here, right?
Right.
He says, "But if we hope for what we do not yet have, we wait for it patiently." And then he says this, "Likewise, the Spirit helps us in our weakness." And I want us to hear this very carefully. It says creation groans. It says that we groan alongside creation. And here's what he says in verse 26. This should encourage us when we're in those moments of deep pain and agony and suffering, and we don't even know how to verbalize our requests to God. Paul says, "For we do not know what to pray for as we ought." It doesn't matter how much theological training you've had. It doesn't matter how eloquent you are with your words. We do not know what to pray for as we ought. But the Spirit himself intercedes for us with groanings, meaning we groan, creation groans, the Spirit groans with groanings too deep for words. And he who searches hearts knows what is the mind of the Spirit, because the Spirit intercedes for the saints according to the will of God.
Isn't that crazy?
It's amazing.
That, like, we have no idea what we should ask for or request or what the heck do I do in this situation, but the Spirit goes like, I know what you actually need, and I'm going to, on your behalf, go to the Father and ask as well.
Yeah. And God's sovereignty is above our suffering. It's greater than our suffering.
100%.
And it's in these moments where we are suffering where we realize that. Like, sometimes we don't realize that God is the only one who can do things that we needed him to do until he's the only one who can.
Yeah.
Until we're brought to that realization he's the only one who can. So I find that to be incredibly encouraging and hopeful. I hope that our listeners do as well.
Yeah.
But we're going to conclude this week's episode. Join us next week for part 2. We want to remind you to give us a 5-star rating wherever it is you get your podcasts. That helps us to be discoverable to other people who are looking for content to encourage them and help them grow in their faith. Also, you can find us on Facebook and Instagram at the Caffeinated Christian Podcast. And please feel free to reach out to us on our social media channels for questions, suggestions for future episodes. We'd love to get your feedback on that. And thanks so much for listening. Have a great day, guys. See you next week.